Welcome to the second lesson of data analysis step-by-step course using SPSS and RStudio. I hope you've watched the first lesson where I talk about the introduction to statistics, the basic statistical knowledge that you need to get started with data analysis. Trust me, there's a lot involved in statistics. There's a lot, and even myself, it gives me headache. I'm not a statistician, okay? But all I need to know is just the basic. You know, some of you have cars. You don't have to know all the details about the car to be able to drive. The only thing you need to know is how to drive and how to follow the traffic rules on the road. That's all. So this is the knowledge that I'm giving you, just the basics to get started. That's the statistical knowledge I gave you. So now the other things will start going a bit more in detail as we go through the practical steps. What are the objectives for you in this second lesson? What are the things that you're expected to know? So you're going to you're going to learn about the scientific research data analysis steps. What are the steps that you need? So you need to have a journey, okay? If you are going to Lusaka, you are from Livingstone, you know that first I'll go to the bus station, and then I'll go to Zimba, and so on until I get to Lusaka. And Lusaka, I will know I'm in Lusaka because of this and this and that. So if you have that picture in your head, data analysis is going to be very simple and straightforward. Because if you don't know the steps, then you are going to get stuck. So we are going to discuss those, and then we'll begin with SPSS first. So I'll introduce you to SPSS. So first you are going to learn about the SPSS interface. There are some SPSS gives you a free trial version for 1 month. Okay, 1 month. After that, it expires. So you need to subscribe. You need to buy. It's quite very expensive. Those that would like to have a version that I have a version 26, I should think, yeah, version 26, and I'll give you for free for those that will subscribe to my premium, okay, to my premium website where I have all these courses and many others from research proposal writing, data analysis, data collection, and report writing. So these premium courses are going at a very, very affordable fee. So those ones that will subscribe, you'll be given the SPSS and the data sets and the codes that we'll be using in this course. And if you would like to have access to that, you can just send me a short message, a message on my WhatsApp number, which I will attach in the comment section so that you can inbox me, or you can visit www.medminds.online. I'll give you the link of the website in the comment section. So let's continue. And it's okay even if you don't subscribe to the premium website, because the things that I'll give you here will be enough, except you won't get to have the SPSS software. So we are going to know about the data import. How do we import data? How do we manage data in SPSS? Then data exploration. And then after data exploration, we'll get into descriptive analysis. Okay? That's what we are going to discuss in this lesson. Now, what are the steps to data analysis? So the first step is you need to know the objectives, okay? You need to know the objectives. Be familiar with the objectives. Understand what is it that I'm expected to do, okay? Your research proposal has objectives. So if it's a client who has given you a data set to analyze, ask for a research proposal. Go through the objectives, understand. Because if you understand exactly what you need to answer, then the rest of the steps will be easy, okay? So once you understand the objectives, then you need to familiarize yourself with the data set. So get the data set, familiarize yourself, look at the variables, okay? Is this data set, the variables that I have, going to answer the objectives? Yes or no? Maybe there are certain variables that you need that need to be added, okay? You have to familiarize yourself with the data. And if the data set is not able to answer the objectives, then there could be something wrong, which means you have to either recollect data, those missing variables, or maybe modify the objectives. And then you need to know the data analysis plan. So here you make the data analysis plan. If it's a client, usually they have already written the research proposal. The data analysis plan section, you have to look at it in detail. And if it's detailed enough, it will guide you what you expect to do. But usually I like to create my own data analysis plan to say, okay, to answer these objectives, I need to use this statistical test. If you remember in the previous lesson what we discussed, I'll need to do this, then I'll need to do that, and then I'm going to present this data in this way and in that way. So that's a data analysis plan. You write that down. And now you are going to import your data set into whichever data cleaning software that you're using. I usually like to use Microsoft Excel. So you begin data cleaning. Once you clean data, and then you're going to start the analysis. And the first part is usually data management, where you create new variables or you record variables, which we are going to do all these things step by step. And then if you are into biostatistics, you are in medicine or health, usually your data is expected, your results are expected to be presented in 4 tables: table 1, table 2, table 3, and table 4. Usually table 3 and 4, other researchers like to combine them, they merge to make one table. So you need to, first you begin with table 1, which consists of the descriptive analysis, okay, descriptive analysis. That's table 1. And then table 2 is the table of association. So this is where you find the chi-square. This is where you find the correlations. This is where you find t-test. Those things that we talked about, those things are found in table 2. And then table 3 is where you come now to logistic regression. So table 3 is usually univariate, okay, univariate logistic regression. And then table 4 is multivariate logistic regression. So what that means is in table 3, you are trying to find the associated factors, okay, the effect size, but without considering the confounding variables. What are the confounding variables? Let us assume you are looking at the factors that are associated with TB among HIV patients. So one of the variables could be the immune status. That's one of the variables. But it could also be compliance. So you see, it's not just one thing that is explaining the prevalence of TB. It could be other things as well. So those are what we call confounding variables. So table 4 puts into consideration, okay, it controls for the confounding variables, maybe age or maybe sex. Those could be confounding variables. So you have to control for those confounding. So that's why we do a multivariable logistic regression to make sure that your model is a good fit. So we are going to do all these things step by step. So now let me just open SPSS so that you take a look at what it's like. So this is SPSS version 26. You might have a different version. So SPSS has 2 views. There's a data view, and then there's a variable view, okay? Variable view, data view, okay? So this is where data is entered, okay? This is where data is entered. You don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to take you through every detail. Like I mentioned, I'm just giving you knowledge on how to drive the car and to obey the traffic rules so that you reach your destination safe. That's all I need to teach you. And then, so this is the data view. This is a variable view. Variable view is where we edit the variables. So having looked at this, don't worry about everything else. Don't get scared. We are going to go to data import. So I'm going to import data. So there are different ways in which we can import data. Okay, you can just come to File, okay, and then import data, and then you click to Excel. If your data is in Excel, you select the format that is in, okay? But for the sake of this lesson, I'll show you my own, okay? So just so I'll come to this folder where there's a data set. So this is Excel data set. I'll copy it, drag it. Let me just say drag it, yeah? Then I'll open in SPSS, then I'll drop it there, just like that, and then just give it a moment for it to load. All right, so here it's giving me some options. Don't worry here, don't bother, just click OK. and I will have my data input is going to pop up on your screen, which tells you what has been done. So this one keeps a record of what has been done. So this here is called a syntax. So it's telling you what has been done, and you can actually copy this and paste it in the syntax, and it will give you the same thing. But don't bother about that. Remember, we're just learning how to drive the car. So they now come this side, and then I'm able to see my data set. It's here. Okay, this is wonderful. So data view, you're able to see the data here, and then variable view, we're able to see the variables here. Okay, so the variables are columns. Okay, this is a column, this is a column. That's what we call a variable. Why is it called a variable? Because you've seen here there's variable sex, male, male, female, 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 male. So they vary. That's why they are called variables. And so is age. You can see 45, 51, 44. So they vary. That's why they are called variables. So they are basically columns. Those are what we call variables. So here you can edit the variables, okay? So this is the window that you are going to come to first, okay? So maybe let me just give you a brief overview about this data set. So this data set was collected from a certain hospital where we are looking at the prevalence of tuberculosis as well as the factors that are associated with the tuberculosis, okay? So I have these variables, age, sex, and then you can see here it's written name, and then here it's written label. So these are the important fields first that you're going to look at, age, and name and label. Okay, so name is what the system, the data analysis system will understand. Label is what is going to present to you so that you're able to read. Okay, so age, so you want to label here nicely, age, okay? So what's the difference between name and label? So here the names have specific rules. You cannot use space, you cannot use special characters, okay? The only character which is accepted here is an underscore, okay? But don't worry about that. So just come to label. So here you have the freedom to write something in full. So sex here, you write sex. Education level, that's fine. Occupation, you can see it's not written, so you want to write occupation. Okay, so you can even leave you can write a full word here. There's no problem. Location, okay. TB. So here I'll write tuberculosis status. Tuberculosis status. Then outcome status. Okay, I'll leave that like that. And then HIV test. Okay, was the patient tested for HIV? Then here is HIV status. So HIV status. What am I doing? Okay, HIV status. So here we've begun what is called data management. We are managing our data. Okay. HIV here. I can leave it like that. So you can see HIV test, it has removed the space that was here because that is an illegal character, okay, in names for SPSS. And then where else here? I'll say cost, okay? All right, so it's not all the variables that I will use, but just few. And then after doing this, the next thing that you want to look at is what we call values, okay? Values. So values, for example, sex, okay, we have male and female. Now, when collecting this data, maybe you just labeled male and female. So that, let me just put it, maybe you recorded the 0 for male and then 1 for female. Then you have to come here and code it, okay? So you can put 1 to represent male, okay? And then you add, and then 2 to represent female. Now, remember, you only do this if your data was collected in numbers, okay? So you can see here, it wasn't collected in numbers, it wasn't coded. So this is not coded, so you're not going to do that. Pay attention, you're not going to do that. But there's one variable which is coded in numbers, which is TB status, okay, TB status. So TB status, if I come here, I look at TB status, you see there are 0, 0, 0, and then there are 1. So I left this deliberate so that I can demonstrate to you what you do. So I'll come to TB status, then I'll come to values, and then here, 1 represented positive, okay, and 0 represented negative. So this is what you do. Okay, that is done. Okay, all right. And now, after doing that, there are these variables. Just don't worry about them. I'll show you how to handle all of them. Now we have certain things here. You can see data type, numeric, string. I remember I taught you about the variable type. So this is where it becomes very important. So here it's numeric, here's string. So string here is it shows that this is a categorical variable. Okay, this is a text. Okay, so all these things we're going to see how we handle them. So what do you do here? Just leave this drama here and click on data. We've seen on top where it's written data, so click on data. No, not data, transform. Okay, click on transform. Seen on top there are these pens here, so you select transform, and then you are going to click on automatic record. Click on automatic record. So you click there. Then now you are going to select all the string variables in your data set, all the string variables. So you can see sex is a string variable. And how do you know it's a string variable? You can see here, this and this, there's a difference, okay? Tuberculosis status is a numeric variable, so it's coded. If it's in RStudio, I would have said it's a factor. So this one is coded, it doesn't have like a small a down there. So all the variables that have the small a's there, you select them, you select them, you select them, okay? You select them, you select them. So I'll select this, okay? So, and I'm going to click after selecting. So how do I select? You hold Control and then you start clicking, okay? You right click with your mouse, okay? So I'm just clicking there. After I've selected, then I can just drag them and drop them here, or I could have just simply clicked on this and all the variables would have come this side. So now when they are here, okay, when they are here, you are going to select them one by one. First of all, what are we trying to do here? We want to record them, okay? Remember the process that I told you previously that we did in the variable view, where you start coding them, 1 to represent positive, 0 to represent negative. This is what we want to do, but we want to do an automated way, okay? So if your variables are string variables, you want to do an automated way, this side. Okay, so sex, you're going to give it a new name. So maybe I will call it gender, okay? And then okay. But usually I don't usually like doing this because it is going to take so much time. Remember, I've already put the labels. So for the name, I'll make it very simple for myself by simply just putting maybe A1, and then I'll say add new. And then education level, I'll say A2, okay? And then occupation, I'll say A3. So I continue like that, and then I select location, say A4. And then HIV test, I'll say A5. HIV, I'll put A6. So these names, they have to be unique. They don't have to be repeated. Then here A7, okay? So you can name them any way, the way you want. Maybe you're going to say A, B, C, D. It's all up to you. Maybe K7, AK47, Mark 2. I don't know, whichever you want. Okay, so they are A8, okay? All right, and then here, remember to tick this, treat blank string values as user missing. Just click there, and then what you do, you just click OK. So once we do this, you are going to see this window pop up, which will tell you what has happened. So just forget about it, minimize it, and then come here on the data view. You will notice that new variables have been created. So just come this side, you will see that new variables have been created, and here they are. So we have A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8. So you can come to the variable view and then go down, and you can see these are the variables that we've created. And look at the magic that has happened. Now when I look at sex, if I click here, you see this has already been done for us automatically. Okay, education level also already done. Okay, occupation already done. So farmer, now there is a problem there. Okay, teacher, student. So farmer, there is a problem here. There is a problem here, farmer. So there farmers is labeled twice. Okay, so that's because when entering this data, there was no consistency. There's farmer with a small letter and a farmer with a capital letter. So what do we do here? Okay, so what you can do, you can just come to data view, find here, okay? And you can maybe try to say sort in ascending, okay, business. So, and then you've seen this farmer, okay? So just click on this farmer and then assign it. Then select the other farmer. So you are changing, so we select this farmer. So we've changed it, okay, good. And then we can come to this farmer now. We can come back here, occupation, okay, this is occupation. And then we delete this one, okay? We just say remove, then that's okay. So it has been sorted out, we've just changed that. So now we have done data management for now, okay? And usually at this point you can delete the others, okay? You can usually delete the others because they are not needed. These are the things that you are going to, the variables, the ones that you've converted to this side, you can remove them, but don't worry about that. So here we are. We've done the data management that is needed in SPSS. So the second step, the other step, remember I told you we were looking at this part. We have done some data management, okay? Not so much of data cleaning. I'll record a separate session for data cleaning, okay? But we look at it, data management. So we've done data management. And then now, let's go to data exploration, okay? Data exploration. So data exploration is where you understand the data types that you, the numeric variables that you have. So I only have one numeric variable, age. So I want to understand, is it normally distributed or not normally distributed? So that I determine whether I'm going to use parametric test and the non-parametric test. Remember what I discussed in the previous session, okay? So what do we do here? To understand the distribution of this, we are going to do normality test. So you come to analyze, and then you come to descriptives, and then you come to explore. So descriptive, then explore. And then age, you put it, you drag age to dependent list, and then you come to statistics. You can leave those out, and then plots. So just click on normality plots with test, okay? And then here you can select a histogram, and maybe you can leave a stem and leaf. I think that one is just fine. And then, okay, and then options, you can just leave those out, and then just display statistics and plots. So, okay, both. Then I'll click on OK. So that is data exploration. So we are doing normality test, okay? Remember those assumptions that I told you previously? So now we can see these tables, they have been generated. It will tell us, the first is case processing summary, which will tell us the age, okay? The variable that we've run is age. How many, what's the sample size in here? 383 cases were entered, okay? So we have valid and missing cases. So valid are those when we subtract the missing cases, and we didn't have any missing case here. Okay, then descriptives that have been done, so we are able to see the mean there as 41.8. Then we can see the confidence interval, the lower bound and the upper bound, the median as 42, okay? But remember, this is not really our main interest. Our main interest here is here, okay? Okay, here. You can see this has been plotted nicely, okay? It has been plotted, and remember I told you the distribution of data, whether it's normally distributed or not normally distributed. So remember, if it forms a bell curve, it means it's normally distributed. But we can see here there is a problem. Okay, there's a problem here. I wouldn't say from the visual aspect of it, I wouldn't say this data is normally distributed. Because somewhat, yes, it comes like that and like that, but then it kind of forms what is called like bimodal, kind of, because at the middle here, the distribution is low. But then I'll come to the normality plots, normality tests that have been done. So we have two normality tests that we've been done, that has been done, the Kolmogorov-Smirnov and the Shapiro-Wilk, okay? These things, don't worry, these are not the things you are going to report in your paper, in your paper, okay? This is just for you to understand your data, okay? You are exploring the data. This is for you as a data analyst. So you are going to look at this, okay? So we have the Kolmogorov-Smirnov and the Shapiro-Wilk. And then the SIG tells you the significance. This is in another way the p-value, okay? So the Kolmogorov-Smirnov assumes that your data is normally distributed. That is what we call a null hypothesis. Assumes your data is normally distributed. But if the p-value is less than 0.05, meaning that we are going to reject null hypothesis and adopt what is called an alternative hypothesis, which tells us that our data is not normally distributed. That's an alternative hypothesis. So we are going to discuss in detail about hypothesis testing, but for now, we know our data is not normally distributed because the p-value is less than 0.05, and so is Shapiro-Wilk as well. So now I understand. Now let me go and show you the magic, okay? Now this is the part where you just need to go in SPSS and generate the first table. Boom, business is done, okay? So let's do that. Analyze, okay? And then I'll come to tables, okay? Just come to tables, then say custom tables, and then start selecting the variable. So you start first with age, usually start with the demographics, okay? And then we are going to select these variables. Remember the ones that we had put here. So sex, age, occupation, location, HIV test, HIV status, CAT, and TB knowledge. So then I'll drag them and put them this side, okay? Just below age there. After I do that, then I'm going to click on categories and totals. And then by value, sort categories by value. So you put by count. So want to sort them. Then order, select descending. Order, select descending. So remember the counts should always be presented in descending order. That's what we are doing here. Then click apply. Then come to summary statistics. Then here you come to column percent. And then column valid n%. Then you click here so that it comes this side. Then you are going to come on the label here and then put something like percent. Just put percent. Okay, let me write percent. Count on the count. Okay, what's happening? Then on the count, write frequency. Okay, write frequency. And then here percent, because you've already written percent, we don't need to even include percent here. So I'll select the first option and then just say apply to selection. Okay, done, first part. Then second part, age. So age is a numeric variable, so I'll come to summary statistics. So far there is mean. Now, we have understood that this age is not normally distributed. So mean is not going to help us. What is going to help us? Median. So we are going to replace mean with median. So here, mean, median, mode, so click there, and then select median, and then drag it that side, and then remove mean. So when you report median, you're also supposed to report what is called the range. So, but I'll just leave it for now, but you're supposed to include the range. And then just say apply to selection, and click OK, and click now. Are you ready for the ultimate magic? This is the takeaway. Okay, boom, look at this amazing table that we've generated. Okay, that's our table one. That's how you generate table one. So meaning that the first step of data analysis is done. So you just have to copy this table, copy it. So you copy it and then you open your Microsoft Word. So you open your Microsoft Word. So I open here Microsoft Word and okay, then I'll call it results. So I'll open that. So once I open Microsoft Word document, I will paste this table. So I'll select this first option. So you paste your table there nicely. So you've seen this table is already in APA format, okay? It's already in APA format. And then I'll right click, and then I'll say auto fit table, okay? And then I'll change just a few things here to Times New Roman. And then here font, I'll keep it at 12. Then I might want to put something here, like maybe I'll say variable. And then I'll come here and call it category, okay? And then this table needs to have what we call figure legend. So I'll say you click here, and then you right click, and then you are going to come to insert caption. So table 1, so you say descriptive, whatever you're going to call it, descriptive statistics for the variables of interest, and then you say okay, and there it has been inserted. So you just copy it, and Times New Roman 12, maybe bold, and maybe the color is not so good, just put it like that. And then here you open the bracket, then you say n equals, so you're going to put the total. So I think this was 303 what? So let me just remember. I just want to get the sample size that was there. So the sample size was 383. Okay, so I'll put 383. Okay. Yeah, I think sample size usually use small n. Big N is for population. All right, so now this is the table. We have it, okay? We have it. We have presented it, but we haven't interpreted it yet. So age, we can see the median age was 42. So we have to tweak this thing around a bit. I'll show you how to do that so that we insert the range also. And then sex, we can see we have 193 females, 189 males. Okay, and the percent 50 and 49. Education level, so 173 had this secondary education, representing 45.3% of the total people in there. So you can see that is just simple and straightforward. I'll teach you how to interpret without stress, and then you can see everything has been presented. Now there's a catch. For you, when you generate this table, most likely it's not going to be in APA style. So APA stands for American Psychology Association. So this is how APA tables usually look like. Okay, maybe I can put that in bold. This is how APA format tables look like. So you can see we don't have the grid lines here. So for yours, most likely it's not going to be in APA format. So what do you have to do for it to be in APA format? So you're going to come on where it's written edit, and then you come to options. Then when you come to options, come on pivot tables. And then when you come to pivot tables, you are going to find that it's usually maybe system default. So you're going to move around and find where it's written APA times Romans, okay? Then you select that. So if you have using SPSS version 25 and above, this thing is there. So you just select that and okay. And then you redo your analysis by just simply coming this side. So let me just change so that you see what happens. So options, and so I'll select another one. So maybe I'll say system default, and then I'll say okay. So then to redo the analysis, I'll just click here, this box here, then custom tables. So it shows you the last thing that you did. So I'll click on custom tables, and then I'll just say okay. And then you see this is how your table most likely is going to look, okay? So your table is going to look like this. So this is not APA. You want your table to be in APA format. So you come to edit, options, and then select pivot tables, then go to Times New Romans, and then apply. Once you apply, you close that window, and then you come this side, custom tables, and rerun your analysis. And there it is in APA format. So thank you so much. If you have stuck with me up to the end of this first lesson or second lesson in data analysis, where we've generated table 1. So in the second lesson, I'm going to show you how to generate table 2 in SPSS. So thank you so much. God bless you all.